I hate to say it this way, but I'm just accessible,
Mm-hmm.
and I tend to over communicate. So I've only had one experience, and it was a fellow realtor who I'm actually still friends with. But he said to me, we're in the transaction. He goes, "I got to stop you for one thing. We need to chat." And I go, "What?" He goes, "You just way too many text messages, way too many emails. I mean, I'm here to keep you in tune with what's going on. I've never had anybody tell me that I've over communicated before, but a fellow realtor." I went,
Welcome back to Life at 1010, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. I have my famous co-host here, Matt Pinelli, and we have an amazing guest with us today, which is David Baslaw from Eugene, Oregon with Windermere Real Estate. Super excited to have Dave on today. I have known Dave since about 2014 is when our relationships kicked off, and I've been coaching him since then. He is an amazing gentleman that runs an incredible real estate business in Eugene, Oregon, and we're going to get a chance to listen today to how he has figured out to make an amazing living in real estate. At the same time, this dude enjoys traveling, enjoys this world, enjoys seeing the life, spending time with his lovely bride. Mr. Baslaw, welcome, sir.
"Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks for getting me up at what time was that again?"
Early.
Sorry.
It's early, and we're going to hear about it, I think, a couple times on our recording today.
Sweet little baby Jesus in a tuxedo, but yes.
Good.
We appreciate you, Baslaw, for waking up early and joining us so that you can share your story.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, Dave, the reason that, again, as I already said, I wanted to have you on, I have been watching you over the years, and you have this ability of building a business. This is funny with our coaching calls. We have this ability of building this business, and I'm like, dude, you realize you have the ability of going to these upper crazy levels, and you've always said, I get it, I see it, but I love what I have, like what I've built and what I've done, and we're going to break this down today. So let's go back to when you started in real estate, what got you into real estate? What got this whole ball rolling for you now? Because I think 2008 is when you started in real estate. Is that right?
2007, well, it's 2007 selling. But when I came to Eugene in 2003, I was bringing a hybrid property management model from Burlington, Vermont here. But I was involved with a company called Customer First Real Estate Services that had this gentleman owned a Coldwell Banker franchise. He owned a title group called American Title Group. He owned a lending company, Certified Financial Services. And then he is super innovative gentleman, and he brought me in with my company when I was relocating here from Eugene, and then I became his VP of operations. And then unfortunately in '07, when the shit hit when everything tanked, it was awful. I was there I was closing down all his companies. So my background is kind of business oriented prior to real estate ish. And so I was closing down his companies, which is sad. And then I was doing a little bit of commercial work, and then a colleague of mine, Windermere, said, "Hey, Baslaw, come on over here. I want you to meet the franchise owner." That's when I joined Windermere in '07.
Well, you found your niche, man, real estate. And I mean, I feel like as long as I've known you, you have found this place that just works for you. It allows you this freedom to be able to live this life, as well as to make an incredible living. I mean, you've done an incredible job of, building a life for yourself in Eugene. So looking at this building of this lifestyle, building of this, we talk about harmonization. Matt and I talk about the harmonization of business and life. You take a little bit of a different style and a different approach to this, because I feel like a lot of people get into this going, I've got to have this time that I'm 100% off, and I got to have this time that I'm 100% on. And you have taken this approach of, you know what? This is me, and I'm on. And to break down a little bit for me about kind of your philosophy of this business of real estate and this life that you love to live.
Well, I think a good way to start is I'm never off. So there's a great Toronto Dominion, the TV commercial that has these people that are, "Hey, what are you going to do when you retire?" "Oh, this is what it looks like." And then there's another gentleman who goes, "Well, what does it look like if I don't retire?" And I'm that guy. So the part about getting it all silly and formal about the harmonization part of it all is I kind of feel, Garrett, I'm just on autopilot. So wherever I am in my world, whether it's at home or at the office or with a client or I, with Ginny on a trip or going back home to Ottawa, my clients, I hate to say this, but I'm always accessible.
Yeah.
So, and I think in our changing world in real estate, not that it all comes down to having a good coach, God forbid. But you better be current. You better be on your freaking A game, right? Because the market's constantly changing, and my clients kind of expect nothing less than that. So, I have a really good infrastructure with my full-time transaction coordinator, who's really my work wife, who's great. And I probably lean on her. It's kind of what we were getting at before our podcast a little bit. I was trying to get into that a little bit, where I probably lean on her more than most. Now, I used to have a full-time assistant, and then it was like, who's freaking running the asylum? Like, I was like, I'm paying her a lot of money. It was like 50,000+ a year. I'm going, what the fuck? I mean, sorry. I mean, I was going, who is, I didn't feel comfortable with it. And then, so when I was involved, I think it was just prior to COVID. For some reason, our franchise, our group, we didn't have full-time TC. So I was part of that to say, hey guys, I'm really pretty close with the owners. And so that helped a lot of us. So I guess what I'm getting at is my infrastructure is between a couple buyer agents that work for me. Ginny, when she's not flying, when I don't have to pay her. I've got Jen who helps as well on some of the back end shit that I hate on the admin stuff. So that infrastructure helps me.
So Dave, I know, and Matt, I know you're going to have some questions here coming up here, but I think we need to set the stage, because when we talk about traveling and we talk about building an awesome business, we need to set the stage for what we mean by traveling here. So in getting ready for this podcast today, I told Dave, I emailed him, I said, I need a list of all your travels over the last 6 months. And you basically sent me a 6-month breakdown. So we've got, and I'm going to be looking at here my screen on the wall because the list is long.
I think there's 17.
Ottawa, Whistler, Ottawa, back to Ottawa for a golf trip, London, Ottawa again for another golf trip with friends, going to northern Quebec, Ottawa for a Bruce Springsteen concert, London for a 5-day trip with his wife, New Year's in Ottawa, heli skiing trip in BC, which he then barely came home and went to Costa Rica for another 12 days. Hockey tournament in Spokane. We're going to talk about hockey. London immediately after Spokane. Paris, Bandon Dunes for a golf trip. You have another trip you're planning here coming up that it's not yet, but you're going. And then going to see a Maroon 5 concert in Vegas. Dude, Dave, okay.
This isn't a life list, by the way. This is 6 months.
This is travel over a 6-month time period. And this is the most, I think it's one of the craziest things in coaching you is there's people that I know are going to show up for every single coaching call. I just know it. There's also ones that I know are going to be late for every single coaching call. There's also ones like yourself that we get about 3-4 days before, and I'm like, okay, chances of me getting a text saying, I'm not going to be able to make the coaching call. I'm heading to London. I'm heading to Ottawa. I'm heading to Costa Rica. It's really high. I kind of chuckle when it happens, and you're like, you got another time for me? But you're also on point that we can move your call 2 days, 3 days, and it's on, and we're having it. So we rarely miss our normal schedule. We never miss that. But we do need to move things around. And I think that this is part of your flexibility, part of the thing that you have mastered with your clients, with the people you're working with, that I never feel like you're taking advantage of my relationship with you. And I think you've done a great job with this with your clients. So you have a TC, you have support staff. How do you keep your relationships up, your work level up, that you have a very strong referral business, very strong relationship business? How do you do it?
I hate to say it this way, but I'm just accessible. Mm-hmm. And I tend to over communicate. So I've only had one experience, and it was a fellow realtor who I'm actually still friends with. But he said to me, we're in the transaction. He goes, "I got to stop you for one thing. We need to chat." I go, "What?" He goes, "You just way too many text messages, way too many emails, way too many." I go, "The fuck? I mean, I'm here to keep you in tune with what's going on. I've never had anybody tell me that I've over communicated before, but a fellow realtor." I went, so my clients, Garrett, they love that. I BC them anytime their name's in something. I'm always blind copy them. I don't care if I'm on a plane. When we were in Costa Rica. I mean, there's things that are going on, and I think in a nutshell, it doesn't matter where you are, but your clients expect nothing less than to be, especially since this is a world that they don't know, right? Mm-hmm. And what we've always talked about is, controlling 100% of the process, which is what I do, letting them feel that they're controlling 100% of the decision making. I need to empower them to be able to do that. So I inundate them with information. So truth is, how I do it is, it gets real simple. You just need to be accessible.
Well, this is a skill set though, too, because there's over communicating, and there's also knowing how to over communicate, and also having the ability to slide your calendar without stress. Like, I think a lot of people, they don't even use a calendar maybe to a certain level, but you have the ability to see everything. So like, is this something you've just always been good at, or did you develop this over time?
So prior to real estate, I like when I was in Ottawa, I bought my first house when I was 26, and I was really into it. Oh, let's flip something. IKEA sounds great. I'm gonna do an IKEA kitchen. And I always had this fun thing about real estate. But my background, I have a degree in economics, environmental science, and I've got when I was with the federal government, I got my executive MBA. Not that any of that crap matters anymore. But when I was with the federal government, I was with a body called the National Roundtable on the Environment Economy. We're an independent body that advised the PM's office on all issues on sustainable development. That was kind of where my degree was. And to this day, if you call my cell phone, I change my message every day. It's a habit. We have to do it at the feds, and I do that every friggin' day. And it's part of my routine. I don't see it as anything other than the fact that it's part of what I do. And so what I love about it, about this whole theme maybe that I'm getting off on about accessibility, is when my clients call me and they know it's, today, Thursday, March the 20th, they know I've listened to their voicemail, right? And so I think what's key in terms of systems and, your regular infrastructure is I'm kind of on autopilot with that, but I don't feel it's a burden. Like I'm just, so maybe Matt, like over the years where you've created your routine.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I want to be respectful to what we've always embraced with our Ninja 9, but I started my day thanks to Garrett, pounding me a little bit, but I love writing my 2 notes. I love, looking at who am I going to do a market review today. I mean, part of it is, looking at my board. Like I'm really, really buyer heavy right now, which is interesting. And so like with my rental company, I just had somebody who I thought was maybe going to be renewing a lease. So, hey, you're 60 days prior to your lease renewing. So I'm calling them up and they go, you know what? I really think we're ready to start looking. Next thing you know, I've got a client that's looking between 800 and $1 million. And for us, our average list price is 673. Average closing price is 479 thereabouts. But in that category, 8+, that's an interesting market for us. It's becoming more and more. So I feel comfortable that I've got this interesting infrastructure that allows me to not be reactive. Although sometimes I think I am a little more reactive than I should be.
Well, it sounds like you're proactive on the communication side too. I mean, like even with the rentals, like 60 days coming up, how many people would have that in their calendar to go call somebody 60 days before their lease expires to see if they're ready to renew? So, and then you had mentioned before the over communication with clients. kind of fits in with, okay, you had this habit building with being in part of the federal government. You got to change your voicemail, which kind of leads to what are the other things that I'm doing for communication to let people know where I am, what my availability is. But is there anything else like in your, because you travel a lot too, like your board is not coming with you obviously when you travel. So are there like, do you have like a routine around like what you need to bring with you, how you check your email or anything like that so that you can stay on top of this with, because I know some people, they just drown in their inbox. Like, I can't even, like, this guy's over communicating. I can't even get replies out to all the stuff that's sitting in here before I have the opportunity to go outbound on that.
So I don't mean to be awful to react to that, but I'm showing discretion. Shame on them. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, so, wow, that doesn't even, it's not even a mindset for me. So my routine is I'll look at my emails. I mean, I can sift through pretty quickly what I'm not reacting to, but, you know, my laptop is there, Matt, when I'm traveling. I mean, I can see it, you know, and Jen is great, by the way. I mean, this is that full circle having a good partner where she gets it. It's not like I'm constantly on my phone or my laptop, but I'll set time aside, you know, wherever we are in the morning. And it's kind of cool. Like if we're in London, I'm 9 hours ahead. If I'm in Ottawa, I'm 3 hours ahead. I love being in Ottawa because I look like a hero to my client.
Then people are waking up to your emails sitting in their inbox. Like, man, how did he do that?
It's like on your podcast of Matt and Garrett, for crying out loud, at 6 a.m. already. Holy lifting, you know. But so I feel that I'm not trying to. It sounds like I'm oversimplifying as I'm talking to you about it, but I don't find I'm sifting through my emails a ton because I know who I'm targeting, and then it's just a question because Garrett and I, we've talked about this a lot. I'm really verbal on the phone, so I'll do a text message, that's fine, and I'll respond an email. But when I see stuff going on, I get more stuff done, Matt, picking up the phone. So part of my routine is I'm a phone guy. Yep. And I love it. Now, the funny thing is, like, I know we've talked about this with Garrett, with his wife. Sarah's not. Neither is Jenny. Like, Jen is like, if I look at Jen's phone, it's me, Noah, but me, you know, and Jen used to be, you know, she was a golf pro. She was on, anyway, she has a very different world. She was on the mini tour for 10 years and the LPGA tour. But it's me on her phone. I'm a phone guy. I can get more stuff done. You know, the inflection of somebody's voice. So if I hear a deal, I know immediately 2-3 words into a conversation if the deal is going south or what I need to do about it.
So, Dave, I got to stop on this because I know there's so many people out there going, the phone is dead. Nobody wants to talk on the phone. No, this is a lost tool. We don't need to worry about it anymore. We need email. We need text. We need all this stuff. And I always tell people, well, and the crazy thing is that you mentioned here since the beginning that you're an over communicator. And I think one of the things about being an over communicator is you're a great communicator is what you are. And then you wonder why your clients give you the freedom to go travel and they know that you're there. They know that you're going to take care of them. But you've also had this amazing communication with your wife, Jen, where you can sit back and she has an understanding when you guys travel that you are going to walk away. You are going to do some business. You are going to be on your phone a little bit. And I find that that is a lost art of communication with your spouse of what this job is, how we're going to work, what you can expect from me. And I think that's a gift that you've given to your wife as well as your business and your clients is this over communication. Like we can't take that too lightly. That is something that people need to understand is the actual sauce.
Yeah, I'm lucky with Jen. I mean, she gets it. Now, there's times when we've been on a golf tournament together and I know I need to remove myself.
Well, when you're her caddy, yes, you need to be like, I got to like...
So, Matt, you'll love this. When I caddy for Jen, I really get into it. I'm going, damn, like, so on a 7-iron, I'm like 150, 155. Like, how do you want me to read the greens? And she goes, well, holy shit. She goes, you're just there telling me if I got any green lettuce between my teeth and shut the F up. But like, And so she golfs still about 10 tournaments at the senior amateur level, and she's just coming back from Phoenix right now. And so when I caddy for her, I know when I've got her set up at the driving range, I'm in the clubhouse, I'm making some calls. I got my laptop. I get my calls out of the way. Because when I'm, with her, I've got to be off. Mm-hmm. Like your phone's off, right? But we got a 4.5 hour round. And then right after that, to your point, Garrett, she knows that once we come into the clubhouse, I'm on my phone checking it, making some calls, and she's cool with it. But when I'm with her, I'm dialed with her. And so, I think this whole theme a little bit with our podcast today about balance, about, the life balance part of it. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the fact that I feel kind of, Matt, you're kind of getting at, what's those routines. And it's kind of subliminal for me, and I feel very
built in. You've built a habit around it. It's integrated, which ultimately with a profession like real estate, to work it in a really awesome way, if you're, which is most people, solo agent, maybe a couple of people, like it's got to be integrated at some point, right? But I want to come back to the phone because I want to highlight that you can get conversations done faster over the phone, no matter who you are, no matter anything. Like if you connect with somebody on the phone, you can handle that way faster than you can a text message because you avoid downtime, and people forget that. Emails and text message create this gap of, well, what do I do now? I'm waiting for them to text back. And you just sit there. It's like, if you're on the phone, it's done. And then you can confirm via text or email.
So let's talk about that a little bit more. So when I'm in an offer situation, I'm not that guy. If you think you're going to interact with me, we're going to have a million freaking counter offers, not happening with me.
Yeah.
So I will get the counter shit done by the phone call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, let's hash it out. I'll present it. But I'm not that guy. And I tell my clients that, we're not going to go through, here's the process of our real estate transaction. And, we may get a response back, but I love what you're saying, Matt. Like the phone for me avoids so much more that you're doing off, like afterwards, especially with counter offers on that thing. I don't do that.
The phone is fast. And so I when you start your day, then I would imagine there's a lot of just outbound communication that happens as well, so that you can also, like when you're doing a golf tournament with your wife, you can take that 4.5 hour break because you already did all the communication. Now you're just waiting for people to come back to you.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that you're saying that. Whether it's emails or some text messages or phone calls, I'm waiting for them to call me.
Yeah. And that's the best position to be in versus being like, ooh, who do I need to contact? It's like, I already did it.
No. Yeah. And so, part of it, not trying to do Garrett, it's kind of funny. He's like, he knows I'm not the most touchy-feely motherfucker, but the whole being grateful, I am. I mean, when we look at spheres, I was looking at my BT the other day, and on the business tracker, I've got, since I came here to Eugene, which is the fall of 2003, I've got 58 transactions with my hockey boys. And it's like, holy friggin' hell. And I was just at a game. I pulled, I don't know, not that you need to get in any of my shit, but I pulled a hip flexor last night and I'm fine. And all the guys are giving me shit because I've got this tournaments coming up tomorrow where we're leaving. But, I'm looking at the dressing room and we're all sucking back brown pops last night. And I was looking in the dressing room and the guys that remained, there was 8 of them and 5 of them I've done transactions with. And one of them, I'll shoot this to Garrett so he can see it. But our testimonials, she's going, yeah, we're into our 10th transaction with Dave. 10th transaction.
Wow.
And I've got one of their properties right now listed. It'll be our 11th when we close it. And I'm going, you got to nurture it because you got to friggin' earn it, right? But that sphere for me, I mean, we have one ice rink in Eugene, and I'm really grateful that we have it. I mean, if we didn't have it, a lot of us would be traveling to Portland. But my hockey boys, holy crap, that's really become an important sphere for me.
So this has been one of those things that we've focused on. We started off, we talked a little bit about it on the podcast here so far, but you are driven by money is a thing that makes your life work, but you are truly, truly driven by friendships and experiences. That's what I've always watched with you. At the end of the day, what's going to make you thrive, wake up in the morning, show up at the highest level, provide the highest level of service to the clients that you're working with, is that it allows you to have these experiences. So you kind of lightly touched on hockey here, but hockey is a huge part of your world. You play twice a week. You've got a team of players that you work three times a week. Numerous times in our world of coaching together, you have been injured. And I'm always like, you got boarded one time. You got what you...
Stitches here last year, yeah. It's part of it. But I grew up with it in Ottawa, and I played college hockey in the day, and those days are done. But I play still a pretty, well, like for us, it's still a decent high level.
Yeah.
And then but yesterday it was with the guys who started our rank, and I've got one guy that's, so it's a lesser group, but these are the older dudes. Although I guess I'm in that category now too. That's pretty funny. But one of the guys, he's 82 years old, from Massachusetts. And wow. we call him the chairman, Matt. It's pretty funny. He's Bob Carroll, he's the chairman. We all bow low to him. And like, I was in the corner with him yesterday, and he had the puck, and I go, he's coming at me, and I go, Bob. He goes, well, you got the puck, don't you? Like, he's talking to me while we're in the corner together. He goes, you got the puck, I'm going after you. I go, Jesus, like, and then, so it's just a really dynamic group. And part of it is for us, and without going down that slippery slope at hockey, is that we, back home, you'd have your team. When there's attrition, you'd add to your team. You kind of knew the other teams, but not really. It was attrition. Here in Eugene, because our numbers are so small, we do a draft. So I was about to swear, but the bastard who was cross-checking you, or like my game, I'm the guy in front of the net blocking the goalie, and I'm the shit disturber in front of the net. So I'm getting cross-checked, from a D man, and next thing I know, there's a draft, and this guy, it was a perfect example of real estate, Garrett. So this guy, his name's Heinze, and Heinze and I, we'd battle. Oh my God, we'd battle. And Sean's younger than I am, and next thing I know, we're doing a real estate transaction together. I put him in his first investment property, and now he's Sean, I'm Dave. And where I'm going with this with the draft is, next thing I know, I got drafted on his team. So even though the year before we're battling, now I'm on his team. So the draft allows you to be with people that you're battling with before. So it's a really interesting group that we have here in Eugene. And anyway, enough about that. But it's speaking of the spirit.
But that is, like, you look at, so many of us get into this, like, this thing of like, I show up, I do real estate, I build real estate, I send marketing out, I do all this stuff. And you found this place where you got your hockey boys, you've got this camaraderie, you've got this like and common interest with them that you just continue to foster, continue to build. Even better though, you never did it to try to get more business. You never did it to build a real estate. You did it because you love hockey.
Yeah. We all know what we do. It's very diverse. We've got, my God, from people who are, my best buddy who's from the Czech Republic, he's a school teacher, to the people I was referring to, he's a dentist, good guy to have. We all have our teeth, but
he's like, he's not there to play hockey necessarily.
He's there doing business.
Like, I know I'll get some business out of this.
It's funny, man. There's times when we'll go into his lobby, and we'll see other people who play hockey with that are there. It's really funny. So it's diverse.
I do have another question. I got to go back to your board behind you, and you said right now I'm really buyer heavy. And I know there's listeners out there that heard that and went, how in the world do you travel and be buyer heavy? I understand listing heavy and traveling and doing all this stuff, but what happens when you've got that client? Here you are in Costa Rica for 12 days, right? And you were just heli skiing in Canada. How many days were you heli skiing before that?
Well, we were Revelstoke to warm up for 3 and then heli for 5.
So I'm going to share some pictures of that, by the way, Dave. I hope you're okay. There's going to be some pictures we're going to put up, because this is what Dave sends me when we're actually up, in the mountain, or we're coaching. He's sending me that stuff.
I got a helicopter behind me.
Exactly. how do you set your clients up so that when they're the buyers in your business, that they're like, I still
Great.
feel like Dave's got me taken care of?
Sure. So I've got two brokers that I work with. One that I've been mentoring and coaching, who's great, who makes me really look good on the ice rink, hockey. And and Joel has really become a go-to for me. And so my infrastructure is I've got people that I can call and say, and then I'll call my client. I'll say, hey, I'm in Costa Rica, or they know. So I don't tell them I'm not somewhere, and they respect where I am. But hey, because the market's really changing, and right now we've got our first quarter. I love this time of year. The fourth quarter and the first quarter for my buyers are the ones I love the best, because it's not your typical time, right, for people to be mine. So right now we're going to go into, even though we got 2.6 months of inventory overall, so still a seller's market, but we're starting to see a little bit of increase in the inventory. We're on average here in our Eugene area, we're about 62 days DOM for us. So that's climbing. And then, so what I love with my buyers is, hey, if we're out looking now, what a great time where hopefully we're not competing in the spring and summer. And, I've got Joel Dunham, who's I wouldn't even say he's on my team. He's my partner.
Mm-hmm.
And, because I don't want to refer, Baslaw's got a team. I don't need that shit. So I've got a great partnership, with Joel, who's going to take care of you. He and I are, so in other words, I let my clients know that I've got backup.
No.
And what's important is that, just to finish it real quick here, is that because the market's changing so quickly, we're not going to afford to wait for me to come back from Costa Rica. We got to move now. So when I set up a prospecting profile and I set up the expectations with my clients going, hey, I want you to first drive by the property. If the neighborhood and the curb appeals a thumbs up, we're going in.
Yep.
And so if I didn't have my buyer's agents then I have set up something structurally, financially for them where, can I go into that in the podcast?
100%.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So what I do, and I think this come from Jen Egbert, maybe a little bit, maybe I'm trying to remember. But it's pretty simple. Hey, if you're going to go out and anytime they show a property, my buyer's agents, I pay them $50 for showing it, pay some gas, it's just something for showing. But however, if I end up writing an offer from one of those showings, I pay them 10%. And if I say, well, shoot, I'm not available because I'm about to jump into a helicopter or whatever. I mean, I'm just being silly. But, but time's of the essence and we need to react now. Then if I have my my partner then write the offer and it's accepted, then I pay them 20%.
So that's what I was going to ask, is that, is there a financial agreement? Because a lot of times I watch where people say, okay, I've got this partner in the office and it's you scratch my back, I scratch yours. We're not going to get into the financial sides of it. And I always say, this is a business. Like, you're running a business. People's time is money. If they're not doing their business and helping your business, you better be taking care of them. And I love that you have that set up with your partner.
If you don't take care of them, Garrett, then they're not there for you. And I need Joel, in this case, to be like, as an example, I'm leaving for Spokane tomorrow morning. With my buyers, I've got 3 that something might be popping. I can just feel it. You can just feel something is going to pop. Well, Joel's accessible. I've got a listing that's going live and he's on it.
Now, when you start the working relationship with this client, do you let them know that, hey, potentially during this time, like while we're working together, you might be talking to Joel, I might pull somebody in to help?
No. You got me, baby. However, I have, I'll let them know that, I've got, I have an infrastructure, part of it. So if something comes up, I want them to know, Garrett, that they're dealing with me. So even with Joel or whoever, there's Katie Juth is another person that I've been using too over the years. But when that happens and I've got a conflict or I have some sort of, something that's preventing me from being there, I'm going to say, hey, listen, want to let you know, thanks for reacting quickly to something we need to do. Remember I was telling you that I was going to be away. I've got Joel Dunham who works with me. who's going to help us. And so I'll introduce it that way. But I want them to know I'm the point of contact.
But you are the one taking care of them.
Yeah, I think this is different than the way some people set it up. Is they'll bring somebody in because that person's going to then be like the lead contact. Whereas the way you've set it up is you're always the lead contact. So even if you're traveling, it's not like, hey, Dave's unavailable. I mean, maybe there will be a trip at some point that you'll take where you're like, this one probably, I'm going to Tokyo. That's going to be a hard one.
I don't give a shit. If I'm in Tokyo, I'm still the lead.
I love it. He's like, no.
So maybe not. I was thinking from a time zone perspective, but when they have you as that lead contact, then it's like, oh, cool. They're hiring you and your process and your infrastructure. And so when Joel comes in, it's like, okay, here's Joel. He's going to help us show, but it's not like now Joel's going to shepherd us for the next week or two. You're on the phone with them the end of the day, I would guess, and say, hey, how did that showing go? What did you guys think? And you go through your process, right?
So I won't even wait to the end of the day.
Right. You'll be on FaceTime at the showing.
Yeah. Maybe.
While you're in the helicopter.
Maybe. Yeah. I've only done helicopter skiing once, by the way. So this,
we're making it this big deal because you were just doing it.
God.
But I think that's the key difference that a lot of people, and because if you're not going to be the lead contact, I think it's important that you make the intro so people know. But if you're going to be the lead contact, like, you're good. You can manage that because people understand that people move around.
I would argue this is that because maybe I've got this wrong, and Garrett can both of you correct me, but I think it's the average time people are doing real estate transactions. I know it's gone up a little bit, right? I think it's every 8 or 9 years now. I think it was 7.
The last one, because of this last couple of years, it's now extended out to 11 years. I saw a report last month on that.
So you're proving my point. So, we're dealing with some really great people are so articulate in what they do. And you've got super bright people, but they don't know shit about real estate. They really don't. And so my feeling is, and to segue in this way, there's a really good colleague of mine. I do about 20% of my business commercial, and Justin Schmick is who does it full time with us at Windermere. And I love him. Justin and I have a really good relationship, and I'll never forget when he does any presentation. So so doesn't matter where I am. I never miss my Tuesday business meetings, 9:30, 10:30 at Windermere by Zoom. Thanks COVID, but Zoom. And Thursdays, we always have educational times from 9:30 to 10:30 as well. And when Justin makes a presentation, I'm not trying to flatter him, but he'll say, as a real estate professional, and we're full-time. So in our office, all of us are full-time. Like, we don't do part-time realtors where we are at Windermere, which is fine. And I respect people that aren't. But in our world, as a trusted real estate professional, you better take that friggin' seriously. And so the point being is you got to be on your A game. You got to be current. And trust me, I like to think that I am. I don't know if I'm always that way, but my clients expect nothing less, right? And so what I'm getting at, Matt, is I want to be that first point of contact always, because where I was getting at in terms of, I guess now 11 years that they haven't done a real estate transaction. Part of the educational process on controlling the process of the whole transaction is, man, this is all new for them. So they don't want to be talking to a million different people. It's the same thing for me with a lender. I work with mortgage banks, a local mortgage bank here, and I love throwing Wells Fargo under the bus, who are great, and they'll get it done. But how many gatekeepers do you go through? Yep. They got their underwritings in Tempe, Arizona. Who am I talking to there? And, oh, Matt, you're great. But a couple more things that we need. When I have my lender here, the people that the process is here in Eugene. Underwriting is here, and so it's the same thing for me as a realtor. I think my clients expect nothing less, because it's all so new for them, to only be speaking person that's helping them make the decisions, which is me.
I love the way that you kind of put that on the table, like, how often they get a chance to do this. We talk about this all the time, and it is scary, and it is overwhelming, and there's a lot of moving parts. And during this little bit of time that you're going to be in the trenches with them, I mean, we have all the friendship and stuff like that, but there's really a short amount of time that they're going through this process that has can get out of control. Emotions can get out of control to know that you have your professional there that's like, look, if we need anything, we got Dave through this time. It's like, why not show up for them during that time all the way, full on, be there for them? I think it's what's gotten you to where you are, and it's given you the freedom that you have today.
I don't think they expect anything less, though, Garrett. You know, I mean, so many times I put myself in their shoes where, you know, how are they processing this? Like, dear Lord, you know, I mean, and every client's different, and that's what's invigorating for me. So what I love about this, kind of what we were saying at the beginning about, you know, and that guy who's never going to retire. What I love, and I was just talking to Ginny about this last night, you know, because she's getting ready to slow down. She does basically 4 trips to London a month. And so retirement for her might be doing now 2 trips, whatever. But she's eventually going to stop flying. She's been doing it for almost 39 years now, when she was golfing. So that was how she would get to her golf tournaments. But my point being is, I don't think I'm that guy who's ever going to stop, because I find every client for me, it's such a different set of circumstances. Like when we talk about pain and pleasure, I mean, all those crazy things about real estate, and somebody was asking me the other day, you know, well, so what's going on with the market and blah, blah. And, you know, we've always talked about this kind of with our ninja approach, you know, anybody go, oh, the market's great. Yeah. Like what? You know, we've been taught, you know your shit. Right. And so what's interesting is what you're asking me before, Garrett, when I started in 2007, when the market tanked, I didn't know a good market. So, I mean, I was managing a large operation, but when I started selling in 2007, it's like, I mean, it gets better than this. I was making a living.
Well, I have a belief about when you start in real estate, and there's timelines. And when you start in the time when it's starting to tank and starting to go crazy, if you stick through that time when it's getting ugly, you're going to be a long-term real estate agent. You're going to be around forever. You have battle scars, and you understand the worst of the worst. When you are on the upside of it, when it's ripping and roaring going up, and you jump in, you're like, this is real estate? Like, I just have to do this and I get paid this. And then all of a sudden it turns and you go, oh, wait. No, wait, I don't want to do this. This is not what I signed up for. You came in, you're one of those, battle-hardened soldiers that has gone through this. You've seen it all. You've been around it, which I think brings a lot of like your level to show up for your clients. That's why you do it at that level. That's why you show up, because you've seen the best. You've seen the worst. You've been through the tough times.
Part of it too is I really, I don't want to be in this podcast to go, oh, we got Baslaw on board going, he loves what he does as a realtor. Truth is, I like what I do. Yeah. I mean, I like the freedom it gives me. Maybe this is kind of the theme a little bit of our podcast. I love the balance that allows me to have. I love the fact that, we've got Mom coming in. Mom's, I can't believe it. I know whether we go down the slippery slope with Mom or not, but 92, still lives in the same house I grew up in, Matt. I know Garrett knows this, still drives. Unbelievable. She's coming in for 2 weeks in April, flying from Ottawa. Am I going to be busy when she's here? Friggin' right, I'm going to be busy, but I'll be able to block my time and, make it work.
So let's talk about Mom. So 92 years old. This was something that I wanted to make sure that we talked about today, because this is separate from Dave. This is we're talking about Dave's mom now.
But I think it also highlights what's in Dave's blood.
Yeah.
So as well.
I get it honestly. Right.
So let's talk about this book. Here is she is in her 90s, and she has just all of a sudden become a published author. She's traveling around doing book releases, and she's got 3,500 copies sold, right? Tell me about this. Where did this start for her? And the theme of this is it's never too late to go accomplish one of your dreams. That's what I want you thinking about as you're listening about Dave's mom.
Never too late. I mean, we were talking about this, so I don't want you guys thinking that to have it so accessible. I have it here. So it's called The Lightkeeper. It's pretty cool. So mom was a social worker, and always writing. She's always been a writer, but never published. And, she she's probably in about 5 different writing groups, and one of the scribbling sisters that she's with, she has this. One of the scribbling sisters is Karen Levine, and Karen Levine is she wrote a book called children's book called Hannah's Suitcase, and she's got 2 Peabody Awards from it. Matter of fact, she's just got the Canada Award Medal of, I'm trying to remember what it's called. I should know it. Oh my Lord. It's a special pin. Martin Short, every time you see him, he's always wearing it on his collar. It's a special thing that you have in Canada. Anyway, Karen Levine said to her, and she was a CBC broadcaster and again, a pretty prominent author, and said to my mom, she said 2 years ago, she goes, Sheila, I'm retiring and I'm going to work with 3 women to get published, and you're one of them. And so mom's been writing books about children's stories, and this one is about her dad in, oddly enough, Kiev. And it was all about bringing electricity to a village. And so what people don't know, I know this is being recorded, so hopefully the publishers are going to get pissed when they hear this. But so what he used to do, he was helping his father with bringing electricity and getting it all fired up in the village. But what he did at night is he'd break all the light bulbs so his dad would have work. But that part got edited out. So anyway, the book got released in October. We had 255 people at book launch in Ottawa. We had 180 people in Toronto. It's just, and she's got 4 other books in the works, 1 really ready to go, and it's with Second Story Press out of Toronto, and it's the real deal. It's crazy, absolutely. She's doing a whole thing with CBC across Canada with interviews with the book, and it's just, we couldn't be happier for her.
What does she think of all this? Like this was not necessarily on her bucket list, but she got, like, I think this is the coolest thing when you have a passion and you have a talent and you surround yourself with other amazing people. They're like, you're coming with me. Come on. Like, we're going to go do this. Like, whether you like it or not, we're doing this. So all of a sudden she is 92 years old, going to book signings, doing it. What does she think?
You know, you kind of said it. It's never too late. Like, her passion was to tell this story, and and my dad had a very different legacy. Morty was really close with my dad. Dad was a landscape interpretive realism watercolorist, on-site interpretive realism, and did really well. And Mom, and he has his legacy. And I was just talking to Mom about this yesterday, because we have, that Echo box. It's, I probably talk to her every day. Hey, how's it going? Just checking in. I go, not that it's all about legacies, but what you just did for your dad with this book. Now she's got another children's book that's in the works, and she's going, we'll see if Second Story Press is going to belly up to the bar, because I might renegotiate with another publisher. It's like, oh my God, Mom. Like, she's just hilarious, But, she starts her day, she'll do her meditation. Apparently she doesn't like meditating. She'll do her yoga. She gets on her treadmill, and then in the summertime, she'll do her 20 laps in the pool. Ginny was a lifeguard. She goes, your mom does this side stroke. I don't know if it's really a stroke, but anyway, she doesn't stop. Right. And so I think what she thinks about all this is, honestly, not trying to get all touchy feely here, but just kind of grateful that she's lucky. I mean, she stayed sharp mentally and physically. So if there's one thing to take away, don't stop, everybody. Like, just don't stop. I mean, my Lord. But a little bit of luck too with her health. But she's got, Matt, when you're talking about your daily routines, I mean, she's up, like, she'll put her cleats on in Ottawa, because we got snow up to friggin' here, and she's doing her daily walk. She's got people that she walks with.
That's the way to do it.
She's probably got a better routine on her, like, in front of her computer. I've got her set up with her 2 screens, and I mean, she's just dialed. Like, what the 92?
Yeah.
Crazy. Lucky.
No, so
that's amazing.
You mentioned legacy. You obviously you're watching your mom, her dad's legacy being passed on. She's creating a legacy for herself out here at the book. You mentioned your dad with watercolor. Do you still use his watercolors as your handwritten notes?
Yeah, look at you. No, you want to see him?
I listen. I pay attention, Dave.
Get him right here.
Yeah.
There's my Morty right there. So yeah, just. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. And when we talk about, it's kind of funny. I mean, I can move the camera. Well, you can kind of see it. There's some stuff over there, cards. When you receive a handwritten note, like we talk about it all the time. My God. So let's see. You thought of me, then you took time to write something for me. Then you made the effort to go mail it. What the hell? I mean, I had a client of mine who handed me 2 notes. This has got nothing to do with you, Garrett, or, hammering in notes, right? But you gotta love this. I had a client handed me 2 cards after a closing and said, hey, Dave, this is for you. Thanks. I kind of knew what it was about. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you being there. And the other one, Matt, you're going to love this. This one's for your mother. I went, what? She goes, yeah, you're not allowed to open it, but this one is for your mother. It was basically, thanks for making Dave. I was like,
wow.
And I went, the power of writing, of notes, anyway, so something I love doing.
I
love receiving it.
That must have felt incredible once you found out what it was after your mom opened it. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Like, when we talk about, Matt, there's all kinds of times when, you're one-on-one with this Garrett character and it's like, yeah, I got any aha moments? Truth is, you really don't. I mean, a real true aha moment, that one was an aha moment for me. It was like, you're giving me something from my mother? Like, that one blew me away. It was kind of neat.
It goes.
I think most of the things that build us are not these multiple ahas. It's a lot of little things that add up and culminate, which I think is
right
exemplified in your lifestyle that you've built through these little systems that you've just executed a little bit better each and every day, week, month. And it's now facilitated the confidence in just knowing how to manage your business. Right. And I think
let's take a second with that though, because I'm not trying to beat myself up here, but Matt or Garrett was alluding to it before. So I got my balance. I like what I've done somewhat with my GCI, but, and again, I'm not saying this just to add levity to our podcast or people listening in terms of what's your ability, but I know that I'm on, not that it's all about Garrett psyching up to go racing here, but I know I'm on less than 4 cylinders. And I've got a car in my silly garage it's a twin turbo V8, and it is. And I'm not there. I'm not worthy of being in that car given what I could be doing with my business. So when you talk about infrastructures and you talk about capacity, yeah, I like my balance. But I've always wanted to, and this is funny because Garrett's going, really? We're going to have this conversation?
Well, I know where we're going.
I don't know, Matt, like if I've ever, well, I know I haven't, but am I there mentally to want to go that next level? And the truth is I've always wanted to test it. So as much as we've talked about infrastructure and you've been really kind thinking, oh, this Baslaw character has got great infrastructure. I don't know about that.
You have the infrastructure you need for the life that you're living today. Now, what you're questioning inside of like, well, do I want to go test that? The question is does that infrastructure hold up to move to that part, or does there need to be a little bit of a change? However, I will say though, you have the characteristic and the confidence within you to figure that out in a way that's going to work really, really well for you. And I think this is what a lot of people will look, they listen to these interviews and they go, oh, I can do it just like that, or I can do it just like that. And it's like, Baslaw's built his business for him, right? Not for somebody else necessarily. Now, yes, there's takeaways and things that I think people can apply into their world. But then if Baslaw wants to change his business, there might be some changes that are made, or maybe you find out, hey, actually I can squeeze in a few extra more phone calls while I'm doing this thing over here.
And it's interesting too. Like, so going down this route, over 10 years that we worked with each other, there are years in there where I will apply pressure going, hey, here's what I see as potential opportunity. Here's what I see that's available. And there have been years that you're like, Garrett, I'm good. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And then every once in a while you'll go, do you think I can? Do you really think I can? I'm like, yeah, dude, I know you can, but we need to fix some things internally if you want to go that route, if you want to maintain what you have here. And I think there's that fine line of always going like, you'll be as good as you want to be. And there are certain places that you have an incredible situation that you have built for yourself here. And there's that place of, could you go and add it? And really where we talked about it before we started recording, like we know where the loophole is. You have incredible people that will come and use you again. And you have people that will reach out to you and go, are you still in the business? Like, but they're coming to use you again. But the referral side, a lot of times when you have those types of relationships, there's a lot of referral opportunities and potentials that are actually left kind of like on the cutting room floor that we don't even get a chance to really realize. That's the opportunity that's there. But there's some things that would have to change. And I think that it's always been fun over the years to like go, okay, is this the year I'll start pushing on you? And then you're like, dude, enough of that. Enough of that. I'm like,
But I also got to add that doing 1 to 2 deals a month, year over year over year, is a level that a lot of people would love to be at.
yeah,
Right. And, and what you've been able to do is build up the skill set of being able to move efficiently and effectively to be able to do that and maintain that level of business while adding more and more and more life trips and things like that into it over the years, which takes time and dedication. I mean, it's not like you've just been doing this for 2 years, So I appreciate that.
I first off, state the obvious, you guys. I really appreciate being on the podcast. It's been, this has been super cool to be able to feel comfortable to share so much about, yourself, and not, we're not looking for validation, right? All we're looking for is to be able to properly share to, others, what's working, what's not working, and, be friggin' humble, during the whole process. But, in the end, I really feel what I've done well is to really sustain balance. Whether it's mom coming here or celebrating Noah, with just like, we're so thrilled for where he's come, or, finding time to fire an exit sign to Celeste for Christmas,
good internal joke, by the way.
remembering things, about people that are important, I just, life is short. I get all that stuff. But man, to be able to embrace, only pleasure with your partner and life, and not be able to do that with your work life, I think is a misstep. And I feel that the work life for me has brought me so many different adventures. Like I was sharing with you about this guy, Sean Heinze. I mean, I laugh. I mean, Sean works up in Salem, he manages a pretty decent size, oh God, trying to remember exactly what it is. It's a construction company for the most part. But anyway, I get these random calls from Heinze. He's got an hour and a half drive every day. And if Jenny's in the car, I go, oh, another work husband calling you, like Heinze, Sean. Hey, Dave, why is he calling? He's just calling to chat. And so the cool thing of what we've learned in real estate is, how cool it is to sustain these relationships where you're not ever talking real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the part, Matt, for me, the level of those of not so much proving those relationships have worked, but you've really earned when you're nurturing those relationships, where you've earned in that dialogue that I can call up when I'm calling up people randomly and I'm saying, hey, tell me about the kids. They know I'm sincere about it, and we haven't talked in a bit, but we're so due for a phone call, or somebody's going through a life change, and I've I've inadvertently forgot to call them, and I'm just calling them, and they know it's sincere. And so that, kind of that full circle too, Matt, about, the phone call, they know it because they can hear it in your voice. I'm not calling them for business. If something happens, it's a bonus. I mean, I truly feel that relationship, has given me more,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for it. I mean, it sounds like I'm freaking being touchy feely here.
Well said, though.
Right now.
I love it, man. Well, Dave, this has been an honor having you on. And you've shared exactly what I wanted you to share about who you are, about your business, how you handle this, because it really is impressive. And I think, again, we touched on it at the very beginning. You being an over communicator, you being truly you with all your relationships and your friendships is what allows you to have these freedoms and allows you to go all in with all of this. And you're not being fake. You're not phony. It's not a system to try to, get people to buy or sell. You're just there for them. And the business is going to happen. You just got to be in their worlds and be around them. And, that's what allows you to harmonize all this together. Matt, is there anything I've missed? Anything that we need to throw on the table before we wrap this up?
I don't know, man. Dave, I'll just say, like, if people want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that if they wanted to go find you or see pictures of your travels?
Don't email me, call me. No. I'm super accessible. If somebody wants to give me a ring, by all means, or I don't give a shit, but I'll always make time for them. And just maybe, Garrett, you maybe think of this way in terms of, I know it sounds a little random in terms of the diverseness of communicating, but I remember we had our annual meeting in February, and Obi Jacoby was there as a keynote for us. And I know he had just gone heli skiing. I know he's a heli skier. So I've met him, but he doesn't know who the friggin' hell I am, and I think at the annual meeting, he just, here's a guy who's going to go, I want to talk to Obi, and I said, hey, before we get going, can you talk about the do's and don'ts about heli skiing? And also it's like, he got very focused. So it's kind of that thing of know your clients, know what's going on in their world, and be legitimately sincere about that, and when you do that kind of dialogue, man, it opens up so much.
Truly caring.
Thanks for having me on, you guys. Really appreciate it.
So Dave says he's not all touchy-feely, but Matt, before you close this thing out, Dave, how do you end every single coaching call?
Who loves you, baby?
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Dave, thanks so much for joining us, man. This has been great. And thanks everybody for tuning in, for hearing Dave's story. And if you want to get in the mix with Dave and join into the same groups that he gets to come hang out in with us, you can go check out lifeat10tenths.com and join in our 11 Circle, which is our group coaching program. You'll be able to see Dave there. Or if you want to go into one-on-one coaching, which is obviously what Garrett and I do as well, we do a monthly mastermind. That's where, I don't know if you had mentioned it while we were recording, but David made some kind of notes to like those small groups that we do with that. So we do that as well. But we also have kind of like, if you just want some extra content and stuff like that, you can come in, be a part of our community, be a part of our world, and support what we do here with the podcast. But the biggest thing that you guys can do to support us, which would be incredible, is just share this episode out. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe, share it out to people who you think would value from this, and share Dave's story, because I know that it'll inspire somebody out there. And how cool would it be if you're the one that shared it, that inspired somebody, they went and did something cool, and they came and thanked you with a handwritten note, and even better, maybe a handwritten note to your mom saying thanks for being and creating you, which would be really cool. So guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.